Hello, welcome back to the channel. It's been a while. I'm still obviously dealing with a lot. I have a lot of overwhelming stress and things going on, but I wanted to put a video out and just let you guys know that I am taking things one day at a time. I think that's the only thing that you can do when you're going through a hard time like this. And I just wanted to tell you guys though that to for the people who have who have reached out, who have sent me encouraging messages, who have prayed for me, I just want to say thank you so much. That means so much to me because that is not common, right? I'll just say, like, most people don't do that. Most people don't reach out. Most people don't take the time and effort to leave you a comment or to, send you an email and ask you if you're okay, if there's anything they can do, or just to let you know that they're praying for you. Um, so there are a lot of people who LARP as Christians, who like to pretend to be Christians, and they adorn themselves with the trinkets of Christianity, but they do not know Christ and they don't have real faith. They take certain things they like from the Bible and they just interpret it in a way that is convenient for them, and then they ignore everything else. They're like Christians in name only, and the Lord would say to them, "Away from me, I never knew you." But a lot of you out there actually are, walking the walk. And that means a lot to me. So I have just been, it's hard because I don't really know what to say. I don't really have anything to talk about right now. It's very difficult when you're going through, I don't know if it's depression, but it's sort of like I'm going through a hard time, and that has triggered my complex PTSD and things from my childhood, you know, and I know that that's like, then I start really getting, I don't want to say depressed, but just like feeling dejected and kind of like hopeless. So it's difficult to feel motivated to talk to people, to put a video out. Like, I don't feel like I have anything to tell anybody when I can barely like get out of bed or whatever. That's just silly. But I have been taking my anger and grief to God, like David did, which I think is what you're supposed to do. And you leave it there, right? Like, not in a blaming God for things that are happening to you or anything like that, but just wanting Him to make His presence known, to be there with you and to hold you close to Him while you're going through that time. You don't want to feel like God has abandoned you. Like David said, "Why have you forsaken me?" Eerily like what Christ would say also later on. But the point is that during times like that, when you're going through adversity, that is when you do draw closer to God than during times where you're comfortable and happy and everything's going great. You know what I mean? Because when that's happening, you don't feel this like overwhelming urge to cling to Him. Uh, so I just think that there might be something to that, right? Uh, Cast your burden upon the Lord, and He shall sustain thee. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved. Psalm 55:22. And I believe that that is correct. We don't know everything. Like God says, His ways are not our ways, and our ways are not His ways. We can't comprehend why things are happening, and we may be confused and hurt, but He knows. And we have to have faith and trust in Him that He's doing what is best for us. And I also think that sometimes it's easy to forget that we are in a spiritual battle, and that battle is fought with spiritual weapons. And if you are trying to do God's will and help His people, who is more deserving of help than the falsely accused and falsely convicted and wrongfully imprisoned? Because think about it, those are all things that happen to the Lord. he was persecuted first before all of us. He was rejected by the world. He was shunned by the people who he came to save, and ultimately they killed him. And so there's the lesson there is that, like, I'm helping people who are in that situation of being wrongfully incarcerated. And so, of course, there's going to be some kind of spiritual attacks on me. And I, like, as a Christian, I'm aware of it, but I think sometimes we don't give that the seriousness that it deserves, because you just assume that, like, well, you just focus on what you can see in the physical world, right? And we know as Christians we're supposed to be dead to the world, and we're supposed to be aware of the bigger spiritual reality. But like I said, it's easy to get distracted and to forget that. Um, but I say unto you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you. Matthew 5:44. Even the people who have hurt you, whether it was intentional or not, the hardest thing to do and what we are called to do is to love them anyway. And that is super hard to accept, especially if that hurt is fresh. Um, as the Bible tells us, we are in a crooked and perverse generation. It's like, at this point, it's called the world we live in. So that's that's something to consider as well. Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me. Psalm 51:10. As you guys know, scripture is the light at our feet and the guide on our path. So that is what I'm trying to, like, focus on right now. I'm trying to just stay in the scripture every single day, and I'm trying to maintain faith during this time. But it is really hard. I'll just say, when I started covering the Whitmer case, that was 4 years ago when these men were first arrested. And I started reporting on it just like any other independent journalist. I was reporting on it from home. I was listening in on the public access line every day. I was, like, transcribing the proceedings and publishing my articles and stuff. And then after Brandon was acquitted and I made contact with him, I started working on the documentary, and then the case took on, I guess, more of my life. Like, it has, because the documentary, doing that project is very hard, especially with such a small team. I have no idea how we've gotten this far. It is only by the grace of God and because of you guys and your support that we are where we are. And I'm so proud of that. But when it when you are trying so hard to be the support system for these guys, for families, it's sometimes difficult, like, to take care of yourself, and your own relationships and stuff. Sometimes that's neglected because there's always something going on. There's always something I need to do. I'm doing 10 different jobs right now, at least. It never ends. It's always piling up. And so it's easy to lose sight of things that are happening in your own life and to not notice certain things until until it becomes overwhelming, I guess, the stress. So, I just I appreciate everybody who has reached out to me, who has been supportive. That means so much to me. Like I said, you guys are awesome. I'll give you a little bit of an update on everything. We were filming this weekend. That went really well. I got to go to I got to visit one of the guys in prison, and that's my first time being able to visit them. It was also, believe it or not, my first time being in a federal BOP facility. So that was very interesting. I got to learn about the prison. I got to learn about the prison gangs. I got to learn about how things work there. It's just it's a different world. And I'm sitting there, and I don't want to be, well, I'm sitting there And I'm across from this guy who, I've been talking about and I've been reporting on his story for several years. My first time getting to meet him actually in person, and I got to hug him. And, he is in an incredibly difficult situation. To be in that position and knowing that you're innocent and that you didn't do anything wrong and that you were set up, that is in itself is hard to accept. It's rough. And then for me to be there and to listen to him, he is so strong. Like, everything that has happened to him, you would think that that would make somebody depressed, cynical, jaded, or that they would feel like they don't have a lot of hope. And that's just not true. The situation obviously has changed him. I mean, he said he's not the man he was going in there at, what, 20 years old. He was a kid, 19, 20 when this all happened. And so I'm like, if he had the strength, if God has given him the strength to survive that and to be stronger, then maybe that's what he's doing for me. And it was also one of those things where the night before I had kind of been crying, when I was going to sleep, and I was saying to God, like, if you're there and you're listening, let me know. Give me a sign. Show me. And then I got in after they wouldn't let me in and they told me I was a security risk or whatever. And I had to go through all that stuff. I got to go in and I was sitting there across from somebody who was like in our Lord's situation. I'm like, wow, this is like, not to compare somebody to Jesus, but it's like, he experienced that too. So it was sort of like one of those things where I was like, you know, like I guess he is, speaking to me, or he is like giving me a sign. So that was kind of encouraging, but it's also still very like depressing and sad. And I think the other part of it is because I'm a mom, and a woman, I can empathize with these guys. So I kind of take on their pain, I feel like, and the experience that they're going through. I feel like I'm going through it with them, or that, I'm incarcerated with them and I'm doing the time with them. And it is not easy for a woman to take on men's pain. It's really hard. I'm not a man. I don't have the same strength that they have. Um, so I'm not, it's harder for me maybe than it is for them. Um, but anyways, that was a really good experience, and that was good. That's the good news. So I wanted to share that. And then I got something else coming up this weekend, and then next weekend. And then maybe we'll be close to getting back into post-production. And that would be great. It's just, the story has to be told properly, and that takes time. You only get one shot at doing this, so you want to get every single interview in possible. If there's more you can get, you want to get it. You don't want to just rush to get something out on other people's time frames. Like, no, this is on God's time, and he is the one that is making this happen and bringing all of this together. And so I have to submit to that. It's not my will. I have to learn to be patient. And that has also been really hard for me too, because I'm I'm a really impatient person. Like, I get into like the instant gratification thing just as much as anybody else, just as much as the Zoomers I've criticized. I love you guys. But you know what I mean. And then, it's like the Lord has to tell you, no, my time. Okay, so I wanted to also let you know, this is so cool. Thank you to a friend of mine, shout out Mushroom, who helped me set this up. We have a new section for the documentary website for merchandise. So if you want to support the documentary, one additional way you can do that now instead of just donating through the Give Send Go fundraiser is you can get official K&K Film merchandise. And you'll find that here on the website knkfilm.com/merch. So if you go to the home page, this is the home page for the website there. As you guys know, there's a donation page that has a link down at the bottom here to the official fundraiser for the documentary. We have Write to the Guys. We've got all of their current mailing addresses if anyone wants to send them letters. And it really does help. Those words of encouragement, like I said, I'm going through my own difficult time, and that's really helped me. So I know letters will help these men a lot, and it means a lot to them when they get them. Like, they get so excited. So please consider writing to them. There's ways to help the guys also. Right now, I only have the link for Adam Fox for his family's Give Send Go fundraiser. That's Adam and his sister Gabby here. She set this up for Adam, so if anyone wants to help them directly, and I am going to be getting up at some point instructions for using Western Union the Western Union app to add funds to their commissary, and I'll give you all the information you need in order to do that. And I also want to say thank you so much to the lady from Florida. You know who you are, who's written to the guys. That means so much to them. And then the newest page is the K&K Film merchandise page. That'll take you to some designs in the spring store. They're very cool. My friend designed the merchandise for it. You can get a K&K Film hat, hoodie. I'm going to be getting the hoodie and the shirt, so while I'm out on my, shooting for it, I'll be wearing it. But that's all just on the website there. That's the newest page. I'm very excited about it and very happy to share that with you. Get some K&K Film merchandise. We got to get some better graphics. Guys, I have so many pictures of the guys that are hilarious. They're fun. Like, if anybody is good at graphic design, reach out to me, because we need to get some, like, I want some shirts of Barry in the tricorn hat when he was holding the Hawaiian flag or whatever he was doing. I want that on a shirt. There's a couple other ideas I have. I'm just not good at executing this stuff. And like I said, I'm already so busy. I'm doing so many jobs. It's just, I'm overwhelmed and I don't have enough help. And I could use more help. So if you're good at graphic design, if you have any experience with merchandise, reach out to me. And also, if you have experience with web development, reach out to me too, because I have some ideas for the website that, like, I can't do myself. I have set that up as a very basic website. Your girl is not technically proficient. I have ideas though, so reach out to me if you do stuff like that, because there's certain things I'd like to do for the website that I think would help bring more people to the website, if that makes sense. So I have ideas. Just reach out to me if you do that. And yeah, that's basically it for now. I don't really have much else to say. I'm sorry I'm not like in a talkative mood or anything like that. But I'm taking things one day at a time, and I guess that's all you can do, right? All right, well, that's it. Again, thank you so much for everybody who has been there for me, who continues to be there for me and to support my work, despite my flaws. I appreciate it, and it means a lot to me. I hope you guys have a good day. Bye.